I second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The Racket Center renovation PR for the $15,000 for the construction drawings is approved. The next item on the agenda is an update from Fairfield Glade Resident Services, and Pat Grouet is here to deliver that update.
Bet you can't wait for this, huh?
Been waiting all year.
Never mind. God. Can you hear me without this?
We need you to use.
I got a big mouth, so, you know, it's...
You need to use the mic for it to go through the filming system.
Okay. Now can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay. Ooh, I'm not that tall. Board of Directors, glad to see you, and our management team, Mr. Weber and his crew, the Glade Management, the Mayor, Colleen Mall, members of the press, and of course, our wonderful residents. It's good to be back in action. It's been a rough 4 or 5 months, and quite frankly, I've had some very personal problems myself. Taxes, COVID, riots in the streets, all the things that are going on in our country has really upset me. And last night I called the suicide prevention line, and I got the one in Pakistan by mistake, and they asked me if I could drive a truck. Got to think about that. Anyway, all our programs are functioning. HDM on a lower basis, even though it's been very difficult. Our Way to Go program is functioning well because we do have a lot of our residents who need to get to dialysis, et cetera. So we are in business. Our office is open. We suggest you try to do it by appointment. Only one resident will be allowed in the office at a time, and we'll be glad to handle any of your problems. Anything to do with some of our Caring Connections programs, you must make a phone call and get an appointment. For many of you that don't know this, our founder, Ken Schuning, passed away just recently, and there is a move-on in Fairfield Glade Resident Services. There's some changes coming. We, as an organization, have been around for about 12 years, and we've now established a leadership committee because we've got to look at moving on and getting into the 21st century. We're going to be looking into a building, et cetera, because when the Peavine corridor is finished, we feel strongly that the facility that we're in will probably revert to a business because we get an extremely kind rate from Butch Smith, but he is a businessman after all, and we know that if the possibility happens, they will have to rent it out to a business. Dr. Prigg, who's been running our organization along with some of our other capable members, will be phasing out at the end of the year. So we're going to be looking for some new people to help us. We do have a very good board right now, but we will be losing a couple of our board members due to age, and actually they put an awful lot of time in. So we're going to renovate internally, but we're also going to have to look to the future, and we're going to have to look to grants, our membership, and the community as a whole to help us out on this. Because FGRS has proven to be an extremely valuable asset here in Fairfield Glade. Phone books are still available. Not too many left. It's a little late in the year to get them, but you can stop by and pick them up. And let me just close by saying, please support our amenities, our fire and police department. And don't forget to vote. That's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. At this time, are there any comments from the residents? Any comments from the floor? Yes, sir, if you'd come up to the microphone, please. speak right into the microphone so that...
Yeah.
I have
There you go.
two things one for Diana. Walking by the old entrance to the check-in center, somebody has spray painted a thing on the entrance there in the tar in bright orange. I think that needs to be addressed. Is that your department?
I can investigate that.
Would you? I don't think you would like to see it, but I walk by it in the morning on my walks, and a lot of other people have. That's all I have for this one here,
And
the
it's
other one
by
is
the
for
parking lot? By the parking?
as you turn in off of into the old check-in center.
Okay.
It's the left-hand side there, right by, what's that, Village Drive or something that goes along that little, by the eye doctor's place there as you turn
Okay, so
off.
you're talking, that's...
Yeah, Fairfield Boulevard.
Yeah, Fairfield, yeah.
Okay,
It's
so it's-
right there as you go to turn into the old check-in center. It's in the tar, you can't miss it. And the other one is for Misty. I had somebody called on the trees and stuff at the corner of Southgate and Cromwell. You can't see the stop sign as you come down. There's a heartleaf tree blocking the whole stop sign, and people can't see as they come around that corner. And we have where I know my wife has had to slam on her brakes because people coming off of Southgate go way out around and into the other lane because they say they can't see around that corner to see if anybody's coming.
We'll take a look at it, and it's probably something we'll need to give permission to TDOT to trim more for their practices.
Okay, because I was told by Sam that you're the one in charge.
I'm not the tree trimmer, but I'll definitely look at it. Yeah.
All right.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just a little bit of explanation on that. When you look at any of our roads in Fairfield Glade, we've got combinations there of county responsibility for the road, and the easement is typically county's responsibility. Much of the green space, particularly that you're talking about, like that runs between Southgate and Peavine in there, that's common property that Wyndham may own part of that. Okay? And so we'll figure out who needs to do what to do that. And typically we do, the community club does a lot of the maintenance that actually is owned by somebody else, but in order to make it look and work the way we want it to, we do some of the maintenance on our own. So we'll certainly take a look at that corner. Are there any other comments from the floor? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ken, I appreciate your words that you kicked off and across the board, because I think they're apropos, and especially during this time, the election time. So I'm wondering if I could get a show of hands by the members of the board on those that might be willing to support changing the voting structure for our director positions and so forth. Changing it more towards what typical communities have, which is by the population, the residents. Nothing. Okay. So I appreciate that. I think it's time, as you mentioned, time to look at things and how we're structured to make it so that our community is structured in a manner that is fair, and that our votes as residents have some meaning and count. We'll see in this next election what the influence is by the voting blocks that we have. If it's based on past elections, not much influence by the residents. So that's why I was asking for that support. We have no other means, and so I guess my next ask would be, is there a way that this board can put out to the community how changes such as that can be implemented? What's the procedure?
Well, let me make a comment to that. Number one, voting is based on property.
Correct.
Not on population.
Correct.
So as a resident that owns a piece of property, you get one vote for your piece of property. Wyndham gets one vote for each piece of property that they have, and they pay their dues on those pieces of property. Okay? So do the timeshares based on the property that they own, and so does Good Sam based upon the property that it's on. Okay? So it is a membership organization, and it's one vote for each piece of property in the association. So that is an equitable way to conduct the voting process. The biggest concern that there is that your residents don't come out and vote as aggressively as they could. And so increasing the voter participation is the simplest way to increase the influence of the residents on the outcome of the election.
Can I appreciate that? To let you know, 2018, the residents, homeowners, had 49% of the eligible votes were voting. That's a pretty high number. Go back to presidential elections and so forth, that's right in those ranges. So to increase it, I agree. I'd like it to be 100%. Not going to happen. The vacant lot owners, different story, and that's understandable because they are not here. They don't know the issues, the candidates, and so forth. So I wouldn't expect that to increase. You mentioned Wyndham and how that's structured and that they're paying dues. Let's look at other communities throughout the state, throughout the country. Who in those communities, give me a name of a community where a business is actually allowed to vote in a substantial block for council members, mayors, and so forth. Doesn't happen, not in a substantial block.
Well, let's look at that, okay? That's a municipal election. This is a property owners association election.
True.
And each piece of property that is owned and pays dues gets one vote, which is the equitable way to allocate that.
Unless that structure were changed, which it could be.
Well, but that structure is also the standard throughout the whole nation for property owners associations. Keep in mind, we're not a municipality. We're a membership organization, totally different animals.
But we have a lot of the same abilities. You assess similar to taxes and so forth. You're able to do that.
Everybody pays the same dues. Same dues.
Yeah,
Not based on property value.
As I say, we do not, we don't assess based on value. We assess based on the lot that you have and the type of lot that you have. It's not about assessment. An A lot that's empty pays the same assessment as an A lot that has a house on it. And so it's not by assessment. And every HOA or POA I've ever belonged to, my wife and I got one vote, just like we do here. It's not uncommon at all.
No, it's the standard throughout the industry.
I understand. I would like to know the process, though, and I will tell you that I think there are other people that would like to know it, so that we can ensure, again, that our vote means something, and not just 1,337 votes cast automatically once. That's all they have to do, hit one button, cast for a particular candidate. It means we need 1,337 property owners to just equal their vote for one candidate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments from the floor? Are there any comments from the members of the board? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you.